That's why I firmly believe they're going to lump as many of the currencies in as they can and do them all at one time. All right, I know we need to be getting to some kind of news. There's not a tremendous amount of news today. Let me be very, very, very upfront on that one. So those that are just here for that can call it a day. We did talk about this one, the golf tournament happening next week. Charlie made the Gateway pundit. I was excited about that. I will be there for the gala on Wednesday night, be speaking on Thursday. They have moved Zester and I from the 2nd to the 1st, so we will be speaking at 3:30 and at 3:50. We haven't decided because they're giving the speakers 20 minutes. They want us to speak for 20 minutes each. And Zester and I are considering grouping ours together. We've got a topic or two that we're interested in covering, and then possibly taking some questions, maybe doing something a little different with it than most are doing, instead of just a PowerPoint presentation. I'm pushing for history of other resets. We've also talked about the history of money, a few topics that we're considering. Iraqi markets sign a memorandum of understanding with the Abu Dhabi market to join the Tabadu platform. Why is this important? Because that means fully international, not this kind of in-between world in which they live right now. Full international, which should mean a fully international rate. Bare minimum, a real effective exchange rate, if not a straight up reinstatement or revaluation. Public-private partnership law, a step towards diversifying the economy and reducing dependence on oil. When I read these, I forget a lot about what we have here in the United States. And I think many people forget about just how recent this experiment in people being in charge of themselves is. It was a great experiment. Hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Well, among these are those, that thing. It's that pursuit of happiness, meaning that you are allowed to work, own, and get the fruits of your labor. This is what it is widely accepted as with the framers and the time period. We can read Common Sense, Leviathan, and all those and find out the people that influenced our founding fathers and that mindset. But what I don't think, because we've had so many generations now and much of the westernized world thinks the way we do now, I don't think they realize how recent in the human world it is. Before, governments made decisions, your leaders made decisions. You didn't think for yourself. You were told where to live, what to do, how to function, what your career was going to be. They're tackling some of this mindset, very socialism-based or princes or royalty leading, not a true republic where you elect people to represent you, you work for yourself, etc. This is really a new thing in much of the Middle East. I know some people are out there screaming. There have been plenty of experiences in democracy throughout it. Yes, I know, and through history, but recent history, this is kind of new. And they are learning how to do this through PPP, private-public partnerships, as they transition their economy from 100% pretty much state, other than the occasional small entrepreneur that might have a little corner store. They're expanding now, and they're learning how to set up corporations, business owners, entrepreneurs, setting up, bringing in things. And this is going to be their answer. They want to be a free and open market. Very unusual for this area, very unusual for Iraq. And they are learning that process. We take it for granted. This is new to them. And as Saleh says, they are on the cusp of a golden age. They are on the cusp of prosperity because of this. In other words, they've laid the groundwork. They're preparing everything. They're doing their reforms. There was another great article that just would not translate. I should have a better translated copy of it for this evening that I wanted to share from Saleh. He's been very busy. And this one, he's letting us know that their prudential policies, central bank in the face of risk of global economic crisis, how they've invested everything they need to. They've supported their currency. They can purchase 100% of the dinar in circulation, remove every single one of them, and have cash left over. They have loaded up on gold so that they can weather these storms, and everybody stop panicking. They're in a good position. This is the architect now. This is the person who took the place of Shabibi in designing their systems. Susan, if basket one goes, would be notified again, just the same way you would be now. You would have to keep up with, follow, etc. So positive stuff out of Iraq, nothing groundbreaking. Bond, a lot of bond folks expecting final contracts and originating wires. Now we're waiting to see, does the money move? That's your update on the bond side. Banking side, I really don't have one for you. I've not heard anything recent. We still have a number of groups that have their staffs on standby to come in and start working. I haven't found many that have called in crew. I have found a few that have called in some people to start preparing, laying out groundwork, how they're going to handle it, etc. I would feel better if I had every group calling in people. An unimaginable fortune, 55 billion tons of iron discovery and hidden reserve worth trillions of dollars and set to reshape the gold industry. And a monumental discovery that promises to reshape both the mining industry and our understanding of geological processes. Scientists have unearthed a massive iron ore deposit in Western Australia valued at trillions of dollars, sparking global economic scientific intrigue. Boy, Australia is full of some fun stuff. Part of the move to the commodity cycle. If you guys aren't paying attention, all of these sudden discoveries, or should I say sudden announcements of discoveries, a lot of these you're going back and you'll find out that they've known about them 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, but it's a sudden discovery. I think this is to help support the value of their currency. Pamela, most, or what I consider to be the biggest ones in the first basket would be the dinar, the dong, and Indonesia. Of course, we're all hopeful for Zimbabwe and Venezuela in there as well. But the key ones I'm looking for, dinar, dong, Indonesia, and Zimbabwe are the biggest ones I'm looking for. Don, days or weeks away, best guess. If I had to make a guess, I mean, my guess is about as useless as anybody else's. I would guess sometime next week. And then within a week or two of that, that's just a guess. Trying to keep up with a few of these. Mark, is it conceivable the banks will ask for appointments, accept your IQD with a promised payout amount like 327, want to pay you at that level and take the spread when it goes? I guess it's theoretical, but it would cause more problems than they will choose to deal with. I'm told it's very regulated, that this thing is planned out to remove any of that fraud and very set on pricing.
The rubber duck on X. Did you know 86% of the 800,000 children trafficked in the United States alone every year come directly from Child Protective Services? They do it legally and with your permission. Each state has their own agency with different names and acronyms, but none are government. Watch. This is how they do it, and this is how you can avoid it. Share this with anyone having issues with this agency. Rest in peace, David Strait.
CFS. Okay, the first thing they do when they come to your house is they want to come in and see it. Well, you're just opening the door and letting them in. That is consent. They're a private for-profit corporation. You don't know your enemy. You think they're government. They might even show up with a police, a policy enforcement agent. They wrote their own policy. I'm working on a case out of Florida for a church. The FDA is coming after them. Pull up an article. I found out the FDA has 1,892 policies that were created by just an employee. She can't create policy. Somebody appointed to the position by Congress or the president can create policy. An employee can't. That's 1,890 policies that this woman created over a 30-year period that they're treating as law. And she had no authority to create those policies. Every agent of our government does that. DCFS. What set up that agency? You have to know your enemy, know who they are. What set up that agency? Title IV, Social Security, Title IV, and ASFA. These two things created that agency. DCFS or CPS or whatever your state wants to call it.
What's ASFA?
Yeah, well, let's just call it Child Protective Services. Every state calls it something different. ASFA, American Safe Families Act. These two acts of Congress created that agency. In both acts of Congress, it says that they cannot take a child away from a parent unless the parent gave their consent or the parent has been tried and found guilty by proper due process of law of a felony. And if they take a child from a parent, they must search for a relative to place it with first. And then if no relative steps up to the plate, they can adopt it out to a foster home. So both things that set up that agency, this is how they get paid, by the way. It's Title IV. Says they can't take your child. Yet they do, based on your consent. The minute you let them in the door, the minute you sign a family plan, they do it off of accusations. It could have been a neighbor called them and said your kid was out in the sun too long. Well, here's the reason. CPS is a private for-profit agency. Every child is worth, and this is going to kill you, every child's worth $3.3 million. They pull $1.5 million from the father's QV trust. They pull $1.5 million from the mother's QV trust. They get $300,000 at between $8,000 and $16,000 per month from Title IV D and E funds. If they adopt them out, the United States government pays them a $40,000 bonus. Now, here's the part that makes me just want to grab arms and go, is that the CPS agent themselves, depending on how many children per month they remove, they get bonuses. They get bonuses. You can't even believe how mad that makes me.
Is that why kids are moved through the Child Protective Services system?
Out of the 800,000 children trafficked a year in the United States, 86% come through those agencies.
So Pope Francis apparently passed away the day right after he met with J.D. Vance, right? So, this is not a coincidence that at the same time, Klaus Schwab decided to step down from the World Economic Forum. So, on the same day, guys, all right, this is a huge move for the White Hat military. This is like checkmate type of thing. So the globalist system is collapsing, apparently, right? An ancient Vatican prophecy did warn of this final pope before Christ returns in 2027. Interesting, right? Well, that's the coming of the Christ mind. That's us, the awakening, the new earth, the activated new earth reality. So the global spiritual stronghold goes dark. Vatican media rolls out mourning protocols. Flags drop, powerful silence across Europe. And on that same morning, Donald J. Trump posts one sentence at 4:09 a.m. And this is what Mr. T said. He says, "He who has the gold makes the rules." Okay. That's not a quote. That is a claim of ownership. Okay. Checkmate. The old guard is done with. Rome has fallen. Okay, so if we remember the 2017 capitulation tour, right? When Mr. T traveled to Saudi Arabia, he traveled to Israel, he traveled to the Vatican. It was all diplomacy, guys. No, it wasn't diplomacy. I'm sorry. It was the opposite of that. It was a message. It was a message to the old guard, right? That their time is up. So apparently there were no arrests during 2017, no press conference, just quiet compliance. And if rumors are true, gold, right, lots of it was taken back by the alliance as of that point on to the present. So assets changed hands, the vaults were opened, and now 8 years later, the scoreboard lights up, right? The Pope's death isn't random, guys. It's the signal that the spiritual cover for the globalist system is gone. It is a signal that the spiritual cover for the globalist system is gone. The one that they all bowed down to vanished, okay? And Mr. T wastes no time. He declares that he who holds the collateral, who writes the terms, who sets the next monetary order, right? The rainbow currency. He who has the gold makes the rules. So now he's in a position to implement the new system. That's not just a theory, right? Mr. T's announcing control now. And while the world watches the Vatican, while the market prepares for gold revaluation, while Iraq breaks and XRP load the next system, Trump just pulled the curtain back and said it plainly. We hold the gold. This is what Trump, quote, we hold the gold, we set the rules, the era of paper is over. Okay, end quote. So we're not just watching politics here, guys. We're watching the reset go kinetic. The Pope is dead, right? Rome has fallen. The gold is accounted for. And 47, Mr. T, just checkmate the final box. So apparently the Vatican power structure is going to be exposed, right? And quite frankly, he didn't die of natural causes. That's just what the narrative, but that's what the mainstream media wants you to believe. He was actually taken out by the Whiteheads, right? So Pope Francis was not just a religious figure, he was a handler, a gatekeeper, a spiritual front for the deep state, right? On April 21st, 2025, his public death was declared. But insiders have confirmed what many already suspected. He didn't die from a stroke, right? He was actually removed, just like the Lizard Queen was removed 3 years ago. Remember the Lizard Queen Elizabeth II, right? Well, now that she's gone, and now that he's gone, that's it. Those were the, you could say, the main representatives of the dark, shadowy cabal. So yeah, it was done not by rogue actors. It was done by the alliance, the Pope being gone. Vatican servers were seized during a multinational military raid involving Italian special forces under Trump-aligned command. Documents recovered include blackmail archives on nearly every world leader, ritual abuse case files linked to elite political families, secret agreements with the WEF to merge the Vatican Bank with the digital central currency model pushed by the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund. Ancient knowledge hidden from the public, blueprints, blueprints for free energy devices, suppressed DNA technology, and even records from non-terrestrial origins. So Francis's death was not a chapter end. It was the collapsing of a centuries-old regime that hijacked Christianity for control. Again, for those that have read my book, The Secret Government, Invisible Architects, the Roman Catholic Church was a Luciferian, draconian, posing as a Christian institution, right? It was what I called in my book the apostate church. It was never a true Christian organization. It was the opposite of that. And it was technically the reorganized Roman Empire under a new name. So now that the conclave is being set up between May 6th to the 12th, and they are pushing agents, not spiritual leaders, Cardinal Parolin and Cardinal Zuppi are both longtime operatives embedded by the Davos Syndicate. So their loyalty is not to the technocratic AI-led climate salvation religion, which is not Christ, right? They serve a new world order that replaces morality with carbon scores and prayer with UN compliance. So Trump's quantum override is operational. AI grids are being seized by patriots. Bear in mind, guys, that not only were we tracked by our phone, right? The deep state embedded AI surveillance into every digital infrastructure, banking, healthcare, traffic cameras, retail, and satellites. These networks weren't just watching, they were actually predicting and controlling behavior. That network, which what I said before a few lives back was being run by a negative AI, is now going to be turned off, and it's also going to be used against them. Okay, Trump's quantum override protocol, right, is now intercepting all major AI grids. Let me repeat that again. Trump's quantum override protocol is now intercepting all major AI grids, rerouting command to white hat controlled systems. This isn't just taking the power back, this is total override. DARPA systems used for mind control, Vatican-owned satellites used for targeting frequency attacks, and CCP facial recognition systems have all been partially neutralized. And that's only the beginning. These tools are being reprogrammed to heal, to help, to liberate, but not until the last shred of deep state influence is removed. Now, I also wanted to share a little bit more regarding Pope Francis, because not a lot of people are aware about his true identity. Most people think that he was just a human, but he was not really a human. He represents, you could say, the ending of a long lineage known as the serpent race, which I talk about in the Secret Government Invisible Architects. Okay, so let me share this about him. And this is known as the fall of the serpent, and this was actually predicted and prophesied in the esoteric records. Okay, so in the shadows of the Vatican, beneath layers of marble and silence, there lived an ancient truth, right? One that was not found in holy books or widespread among the faithful, right? This truth was embodied in a man known to the world as Pope Francis. But to the hidden order, to the hidden orders, right? Secret societies, he was the incarnated Draco, a being not born but summoned. Francis, the first Jesuit to ascend the papal throne, was no ordinary priest. He was actually part of the Jesuit order, right? According to the Earth Alliance, and this report actually comes from Commander Valiant Thor. According to the Earth Alliance, he had been groomed since youth in the forbidden rites of the Black Sun, right? The Order of the Black Sun, a sect hidden deep within the labyrinth vaults of Jesuit secrecy under the guise of spiritual ascension. Francis rose swiftly, carrying within him a bloodline traced not to saints, not to the lineage of Christ or King David, but to the lineage of Babylon, serpent, an ancient reptilian consciousness believed to have crossed into human flesh during the fall of Atlantis, which I talk about that in my book, Our Cosmic Origin. Those within the alliance refer to him as, this is what the alliance referred to Francis. They called him Caput Draconis, the head of the dragon. Okay, he presided over rituals cloaked in darkness. Right, I'm revealing, his character, what he really did, drawing power from ancient glyphs and celestial alignments, opening up portals for other demonic reptilians to come in, or archons. And beneath St. Peter's Basilica, it was said that he opened portals, not to heaven, but to the realms underneath, right? What we call now in the spiritual community, the astral realm, where all the negative entities reside. So he was born a shepherd. He was not born a shepherd, I'm sorry. He was a serpent, clothed cloaked in white, yet veiled in shadow, and in the final days before his fall, strange phenomena was reported. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but nuns spoke in tongues, not their own. Cardinals vanished without trace. And in the skies above Rome, clouds twisted into serpentine forms. And this happened right before he passed. According to intercepted transmissions from within the alliance, the Draco host had begun to fracture, right? The soul, which was in his body, right? He was the embodiment of a Draco. Let's just call him a Draco starseed, I guess. The soul tethering Francis to his realm, to this realm, was losing in its grip. On the night of his passing, insiders claim that the Vatican shook not with grief, but with rage. Demonic entities, once bound in ritual, emerged to reclaim what was theirs, right? Witnesses allegedly saw Francis writhing in his chambers, pulled by unseen demonic forces into the abyss he had so long evoked. Okay, I don't know if you guys heard about that, but right before 2 days before he passed away, you know, the demons were actually pulling Francis back into hell, all right, or into the abyss. Let's just call it the astral realm. Okay, so it was then that the alliance made their move. A coalition of awakened operatives, mystics, defected Jesuits, and starseed commanders breached the sacred seals, okay, using an ancient frequency known as the Christ resonance, right? They neutralized the Draco essence within the pontiff, right? This is how they took him out, by the way. This is coming from Commander Valiant Thor. So they used an ancient frequency known as the Christ resonance. They neutralized the Draco essence within the pontiff, and what the world witnessed as a peaceful death was in truth an interdimensional extraction. There you guys have it. He was taken out by the Earth Alliance in collaboration with the Galactic Alliance. So the head of the serpent was actually severed. His public legacy remains intact, a smiling, humble yet pope who preached mercy, but in hidden circles where truth bleeds through esotericism, it is known that the final Jesuit was not a man, right? He was a Draco in human form. And behind that mask, there laid a serpent being. Again, who the Earth Alliance called, are you guys ready for this? They even had a name for him. And I think I revealed it. The Earth Alliance referred to him as Caput Draconis, spelled C-A-P-U-T, Caput Draconis, the head of the dragon. They used to call Pope Francis, according to Commander Valiant Thor. So the war is over, guys. The war is over, right? And, you know, with the fall of Caput Draconis, that's his real name, Caput Draconis, not Francis, the Alliance secured a crucial victory in the long battle for the Earth's soul, So there you guys have it, the truth about Pope Francis, and I do see the hearts moving up and down.
Forwarded from Wolverine. Listen up, everyone. This is a pivotal moment in history. The QFS, or quantum financial system, is not just another technological advancement. It is the future of global finance. We are witnessing a revolutionary shift that will transform the way money circulates, how economies function, and how power is distributed around the world. The system promises unparalleled security, transparency, and fairness, a true game changer in an era of corruption and instability. If you truly want to stay ahead in this new era, you need to stay informed, alert, and understand what's happening behind the scenes. The QFS is the foundation for a brighter, more equitable future, a future where sovereign nations regain control, where corruption is exposed, and where prosperity is accessible to all who work to achieve it. Don't stand back, watching from the sidelines. Stay up to date, educate yourself, and prepare to embrace the incredible changes ahead. The future is here, and it's powered by the quantum financial system. Together we will build a better, safer world, and I tell you, this is just the beginning. You can also go to qfs2020.com, and this is the link to qfs2020.com. It's set up by Love One Society, which is a channel on Telegram. The leader had a stroke recently, and his name is Ron Giles. So he's I understand he's living in care at the moment, and he's supported by beautiful members donating to him for his care, but he actually wants to go home. But this is a good channel to go to, this website here, for you to learn about the quantum financial system. I mean, you can search on Rumble channel, but this is a really good source of information. Majeed posted on X. This was shared on the Chosen Ones channel Telegram. Posted 4:18 p.m. 24th April 25. Alert from the Iraqi guy at SNWSE21. A friend of mine lives in Switzerland, called me and said that the digital Iraqi dinar has appeared on electronic trading platforms in the United States, but the exchange rate has not changed. However, in my personal opinion, currencies, including the Iraqi dinar, will appear on electronic trading platforms. One thing remains: a sudden increase in value. Forwarded from Adam Stevens. I'm in the minutes or a few hours. Sudani has until 6:45 p.m. Iraq time, which is morning for us, or he will not like the results. His life will be over. He doesn't control anything related to RV. He just needs to make it public. IMF already sent everything to Forex. Forwarded from JR. Adam is on point. All the signs are there. Sudani has been holding it up. Like I said, we're about to go, no matter what. LFGGG. Forwarded from JR, admin of the Chosen Ones channel on Telegram. It's 8 a.m. Baghdad time. Get your popcorn. Alert. Drop the rate. LFG. And keep your eyes on the Forex. And forwarded from JR. Alert. It's 10 a.m. Baghdad time. Sudani has just over 8 hours to drop the rate. Fingers crossed, everyone. LFGGG. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. By Pema Chodron.